Hello, this is Dell here, and I am going to walk you through the Ancient Solfeggio Frequencies scale as compared to the scale that Guido of Arezzo would have used at the time he wrote the hymn to St. John the Baptist. As a recap here, those who are saying that the solfeggio frequencies are lost in time and that they've only recently been discovered. I'm doubting those claims, and hopefully this little explanation will bring some light to you for that. So let's plug on ahead. Okay, over here on the left-hand side, you will see that I have the solfeggio frequencies listed that are supposed to be in the hymn to St. John the Baptist. They're saying that this particular hymn is using these particular frequencies. So I've listed those frequencies here. At the top, what I've done is listed the concert pitches and the different frequencies where they would fall in a concert pitch. So just so that you know, A440 is where most ensembles are tuning nowadays. If you're in Europe, they often will tune to A442 or sometimes as high as A444. All this means is that the A above middle C is either 440 hertz, 442, 440, 438, etc. The lower the hertz, the lower the pitch, the lower it is on the keyboard. So what they do is they tune the A to, let's say, 440 or 442. Then all of the other notes are tuned to that one note. So all of this in the top row here is simply telling you what the concert pitch is. That is the main tuning note. Okay, which takes me into talking about temperament, because our current instruments are all based on equal temperament. So I have to take you to a fun website. This is the Physics of Music website from the Michigan Technical University. And if you go down here to where it says the equal tempered scale, it's a table of frequencies and wavelengths in the air. If I can get my cursor to work. All right, you will notice that right now, equal tempered, it's listed with the concert pitch of A440. And all equal temperament does is let me scroll down here, the distance between every note is exactly the same as far as the ratio is concerned. So C to C sharp and C sharp to D, D to D sharp to E. The exact frequency, the ratio between every note is exactly the same. That's what equal temperament means. You will notice if you go to this chart, you can choose your tuning. So if you want to go to A444, you'll notice these numbers just changed. And if I want, I can scroll all the way down until I find the number 528, which is right there. It's 528.01. That is the C5, or what they call the C above middle C. It's an octave higher. So that's how you would get that pitch. You'd have to make sure that you tuned your instrument to 444 to get that particular pitch. Okay, now we're going to go to, if it will let me go back. There we go. Pythagorean scale. So again, temperament is literally the distance from one note to the next. Over here, you're going to see the equal tempered scale ratios. Over here are the just intonation scale, which is really close to the Pythagorean scale. The biggest difference is the Pythagorean scale, the just scale, they're so close to equal tempered that an untrained ear would have a difficult time hearing the difference. Where you see that, or actually, wrong choice of words, where you hear the difference is going to be between these last four notes, G, A, B, and C. As you'll notice, if you look at the ratio numbers here, they change more. The changes are bigger in these last few notes. So the distance between the notes here are much more different in the just scale than they are the equal tempered scale. But again, temperament is literally tempering the distance from note to note. So in a nutshell, that's what it is. Okay, so let's go back to this lovely chart here. If you are playing the Ancient Solfeggio Frequencies and you want to use them, then you're going to have to retune your instrument for every one. Even though you probably could get most of them in either A440 or A444 by making adjustments using your fingers on a stringed instrument. Guitars could do it just simply by playing a specific note a little higher or lower, but you'd be better off just tuning your whole instrument to that specific frequency. So the 396 is going to work best probably at an A445 frequency. So that's, you need to tune for that. The 417 fits perfectly if you tune your instrument to A442. 528 works perfect if you're using A444. The 639, if you remember, I used this here. I went and used this chart, and I clicked on every one of these to get the pitches. Yes, they're an equal temperament, but the difference between an equal tempered and a Pythagorean scale might mean that this number would be 396 or 397 or 398 or 399. It'll be really, really close. So again, I found the ones that I think will be the closest for your instrument. So again, going down to 639, I don't have one listed because that chart only went up as high as 446. My guess is, based on the numbers, it's going to be somewhere around A equals 450. The same thing will be if you want the 852 hertz note. That would be closer to A450. The 741, you're probably going to want to tune your instrument to A441. That would be the closest match. Now, what some people are doing is they have a G strings tuner that you can get on your phones, and it will show you the specific frequency, so you can play the note. The 396 is close to a G above middle C. The 417 is close to a G sharp. The 528 is the C above middle C. The 639 is the E flat, E, somewhere in there, right up above this C. So it's going to be an octave and 2 notes above middle C. Then this one is the next F sharp higher, and the last one is the G sharp that's right above that last F sharp. So you could just play those notes and then specifically tune the one note and then tune all your other notes according to this frequency. Okay. Next, going to hit some sheet music. What I've done here is, in my Sibelius program, I have taken the scale that was used in the hymn to St. John the Baptist. Now, Guido of Arezzo was a monk. He invented modern musical notation. He also invented the solfeggial scale. As you'll see here, it's ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la. At that point, it only went up to la. T was added later. They changed ut to do because I think all these others begin with consonants. With this is a vowel, and all the others are not. So therefore, you're going to have, it's going to be easier to say when you're not starting something with a vowel. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is easier to say than ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, especially when you're singing. All right, so that's an explanation why that ut has been changed to do. If you compare that to this Ancient Solfeggio Frequencies, what I did is took the frequencies and looked up the notes on the chart that I showed you before. This is a G, this is a G sharp, this is a C, this is an E, but it's slightly low, but you're not really going to hear that difference. The F sharp is pretty close to being right on. The A flat here is, I believe, slightly high, and this B flat should be pretty close to right on. So the two that are going to be slightly off are the 852 and the 639. but they're not that different. Now here's the thing. If you compare this scale with the one that's above it, you'll see how nice and symmetrical these all look going up the scale. When you're looking at temperament, the Pythagorean temperament, which is what was used at Guido's time, is not that different than equal temperament. So the distance between these notes in Pythagoras' time and in Guido of Arezzo's time are not going to sound a whole lot different than they do today. So Guido's method of musical notation and using the solfege symbols are very, very similar now to what he actually wrote. Now, if you compare that to this, the temperament used for the Ancient Solfeggio Frequencies scale is not like any temperament known at all. So what I'm thinking here is the Ancient Solfeggio Frequency scale is not old. It's not lost in history, but more than likely it's probably something new. So it would not be associated with the hymn of St. John the Baptist or Guido of Arezzo. And you'll probably understand a little bit more about that in just a minute. Okay, first of all, I'm going to play this scale, and it works best if I just click on it and it just plays it. So here we go. This is the modern equal tempered scale, which again is going to sound really close to the scale that Guido would have used. Okay, now here's the Ancient Solfeggio Scale. Okay, now I'm going to go back and play them so they're really quick. Here's the Pythagorean scale, and I'm not going to say anything in between. Okay, so hopefully you can hear the difference between the Pythagorean / equal tempered scale. Again, they're really close, and the Ancient Solfeggio Frequency scale. Quite a difference. Okay, if you look down here, I've got the hymn to St. John the Baptist actually written out. I have to make sure that I go back here because I want it to play. I'm actually going to go ahead and play it. It might play that one note. All right, that's fine. So I'm going to play the hymn to St. John the Baptist as Guido of Arezzo actually wrote it, and it will sound very much like what you see on this sheet music and what you're hearing. And I have to click here, otherwise it will play them at the same time, and I don't think we want that. Okay, so that is, when you hear the hymn to St. John the Baptist, that's how you hear it sung now. And that's how it would have been sung at Guido's time, because this scale is based on, or this tune is based on this scale. Okay, now if you were to take these pitches right here, and again, 396 is ut, this is re, this is mi, this is fa, this is sol, la, and ti, as it's being purported that these pitches are. So what I've done is I just made this ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti all the way through here. So I'm going to click on this. I need to go back to the beginning and fast forward. Okay. So let us hear this lovely tune with the Ancient Solfeggio Frequencies. Okay, hopefully you will have noticed that those two don't sound anything alike. Let me explain to you why. You can see visually how they're different. In a regular scale, again, which has been in play, or we've been singing it this way, we've been performing scales this way since the time of Pythagoras, 500 BC. Temperament, again, will change slightly, but not this drastically. C to D, that is what we call a major second. D to E is a major second. E to F is what we call a minor second. That's a half step. F to G, major second. G to A, major second. A to B, major second. B to C, minor second. So we have either major seconds or minor seconds, or what we call whole steps and half steps in this scale. The pentatonic scale has a couple of differences, but all they've done is left a couple of these notes out. Even then, this does not match a pentatonic scale. Okay, so even if I were to adjust the temperaments, and this is where people are saying, oh, you know, we're using modern equal temperament, so it doesn't line up. You know, if you go back to the temperament that was used at the time of Guido, it's going to sound like this. But remember, temperament is slight adjustments between note to note. So here, the major second is still going to be in play all the way through. The minor seconds are still going to be in the same place. All right, let's take a look at this scale. The first one we have is what we call a minor second. And I know the way I have it written out, it's different. So we'll just use enharmonic notes here. So G to G sharp is a half step, or a minor second. G sharp to C, or if we call this A flat to C, because G sharp and A flat are pretty much the same note, that's a major third. There are no major thirds up here. Then C to E is another major third. Notice how wide, the higher the number, a major third is going to be a lot wider than a major second. So we have two major thirds in a row. Okay. Then we have E to F sharp, which is a major second. Okay, you see that in a regular scale. F sharp to A flat, or you could call it F sharp to G sharp. That would be also a major second. And then A flat to B flat, another major second. That's fairly normal. But it's these major thirds, two of them stacked right next to each other, that make this scale sound odd. If you take these three notes and play them together, they sound like an augmented chord. I'll just play them for you so you hear what my thing is swirling around. Okay. Okay, that's a chord that's not used very often. So that's why that sounds kind of funny. So again, and they would have never used that type of chord in Guido's time. They had rules. If you broke the rules, you got to spend some time in jail. And a monk, you would never go against what the Pope told you to do. This would have never been done. Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, if you take this scale that Guido used, which is up here, and you compare it to the ancient solfeggial scale, you can visually see the difference, and that there is quite large leaps in the ancient solfeggial scale, which there's absolutely no way that you're going to find that in the hymns of St. John the Baptist. Because number one, we know that Guido wrote it this way, and this is how it was sung, because he invented musical notation, and we're still using his form of notation today. So I believe, based on this evidence, that the ancient solfeggio frequencies, if they are indeed frequencies, are something new and not something from hundreds of years ago. I doubt personally that they are frequencies. I have a feeling that there's something else, which I will leave that for you to do some research on your own. And feel free below this video to make a comment in the comment section, or go to the website www.healingfrequenciesmusic.com and leave some comments there. So thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video.